Awesome. Cool. Well, hello again, everybody. Good to see you guys. It's been a pretty exciting week. Everything is, yeah, I had some big announcements the last couple days. I actually had some topics I wanted to go over today that are not so much directly related to network infrastructure kind of or validator software directly. I just mostly wanted to make sure that you guys as the validator community actually running the network are sort of informed about some cool launches and some announcements that have come out this week that you might have already seen pop up. So first thing, again, this is just sort of as an FYI for everybody. We announced yesterday we're doing another hackathon starting ASAP. This one's called Riptide. I just posted the link in the chat, solana.com/Riptide. This is going on for the next 6 weeks. Kind of similar format to the previous hackathons. We've run roughly once every 3 months with really great success. We've seen a lot of really cool applications, new features, new developers, new tools come out of the ecosystem. Every time we've done it, pretty much. So we've got another one coming up with some big name partners who are sponsoring some prize tracks around Web3 and payments. So kind of tied to that, there's kind of 2 other things I just wanted to mention. We're doing separately, but also related in parallel, something of a Hacker House World Tour. So this hackathon going on now, we're starting to set up effectively like physical gathering spaces for the Solana community. This is primarily targeted at like the Solana developer community. But something I'm starting to explore is like, how can we have a little bit of, tighter integration between the developer community, the people that are building great products on top of Solana, and our validator community who is actually, running the network, operating the RPC infrastructure, and kind of start to create some more bridges and connections between these communities. I know a lot of people that run validators are also developers, and I would love to sort of kind of increase the share of the pie population that is knowledgeable about kind of both sides of the infrastructure. So we've got, I think, 6 or 7 different hacker houses in different cities around the world over the next 6 weeks. LA, Seattle, Hong Kong, Singapore, Moscow, Prague, and Dubai, I believe. The dates and the information are in the link that I pasted in the chat. So if any of you guys are in or traveling to one of those regions and you want to attend, or you want to meet some of the developers or learn more about kind of the Solana development process, this is just I think a really cool opportunity for some people in the community to meet in person. So that's enough of my marketing pitch. So the one other thing that we announced this week, which I actually wanted to spend a few extra minutes talking about, is the announcement of Solana Pay. So this is a new payments protocol, open protocol that's built on top of Solana. And I'll paste the link here. It's solanapay.com. And I just kind of wanted to get you guys a little bit of kind of technical information there, just to see what questions you might have, or start to kind of give some thoughts as we start to see successful adoption of this new platform. So we have with us Jordan Sexton. He's a developer with the Solana Labs team and has been one of the primary devs behind the Solana Pay stack. So I asked him if he could give us a couple minutes, kind of a high-level overview of the product, as well as a little bit of the kind of technical flow and how that might relate to you guys as infrastructure operators.
Hey, nice to meet all you guys. Oh, did you want me to do that now? Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay. Yeah, sorry.
The floor is yours. No worries.
Yeah, sorry, I've only sat in part of one of these meetings before, so I didn't know how they were run.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty free form. I talk a lot until some people start yelling at me and asking me hard questions. But yeah, by all means, go ahead, Jordan.
Okay, cool. Yeah, nice to meet you guys. I know, you know, some of you guys from reading what you've written in Discord, and I try to follow along with what validators are doing and how they think about the state of the network. So yeah, Solana Pay is a new protocol, but the protocol is really pretty simple when it comes down to it. It's like, if you're familiar with BIP21, this is BIP21 on Solana with a little bit extra. So it's a specification for a URL like payment request link that can be encoded in a QR code or transmitted. We're looking at doing this with like NFC. So you can use this link to specify that you would like to receive payments to some address. And we've added, the thing that we've added that's notable is the ability to add a random public key into the link that allows you to locate it with get signatures for address. So I can, let's see. I guess there's like there's a presenting button. Cool. Yeah, so I linked this there, but this is the basic flow that the QR kind of the QR code model uses, and we have a point of sale app that's a reference implementation for this. So this is live in a van rental company around the Bay Area and a coffee shop, and we're looking at putting it in some more kind of like bodegas and simple retail places soon. And we've had a ton of merchant interest in this. I think in the 48 hours since announcement, we've had 200 businesses contact us that are interested in using Solana Pay for customer transactions. So the way that it works is that the merchant, through a point of sale app, generates this payment link as a QR code. The customer scans it with a wallet. They can also scan it with their phone. It uses like a Solana scheme link that wallet apps on their phone can register themselves as a handler of. And then the wallet just presents them a transaction for signing, and the payment request has like an amount, a recipient address, and sort of this unique reference public key. And in the meantime, the merchant app starts to pull the chain using get signatures for address for this unique key that they know. And then once the transaction is sent, they'll locate it and they'll be able to validate that the transaction contained like a valid transfer of the amount that they expected. They can look at their account and make sure that it actually increased their balance, etc. So this is pretty simple. And what this allows them to do is to talk to a wallet that they don't know about through a sessionless, like stateless protocol, just using the chain. And it's easy to implement. So FTX's app implements it, Phantom implements it. We have 4 more wallets at least that are working on implementations of it right now. I expect they'll be able to have this done in the next week or so. So there will be most of the wallets that you can run like on a mobile device on Solana will support the protocol pretty quickly. You can use this from like an e-commerce setting. So in addition to having like a regular kind of connect to wallet to adapt flow to pay for things, you can use this. And it's just encouraging users more and more to use kind of mobile wallets and be able to allow merchants then to have more of a direct connection with their customers. So merchants can say like send NFTs to the user when this happens. Right now, this is out of band. It's just like they get a transaction and they could look at this off chain and then they could send the user something. But there's also a proposal in the Solana Pay GitHub repo that I will drop in there as well, to allow this to have like arbitrary transactions basically sent like as a request through the QR code. And this will allow sort of, I guess, in my mind, what's cool about this is that you'll be able to do like anything that you can do on chain in a real life setting. So like at an event, you could scan to let people into an event. You could give them gifts. You can do things with DeFi. You can like exchange things between users or interact with games in this way on chain in like a real life setting. And I think like that's beyond payments. That's what I hope we can enable. So the payments protocol is really simple, and it's just designed to drive adoption of this simple thing. And then through that, we hope to create like a more transformational experience of how people think about on-chain interactions. But yeah, that's all I got.
Awesome. Thanks, Jordan. A question from the crowd. Zentetsu, go for it.
So have you thought about the user experience with regards to potential scams where someone might, have a QR code that misrepresents a transaction or otherwise, presents it in a way that's so confusing to the user that they might not understand that they're doing something they didn't intend to?
Yeah, it's a good question. We have thought about it some. We don't have a better solution to it than really wallets who sort of own the user experience of presenting a transaction to a user, showing that to them in a way that is correct and useful. And I think that we probably will see some scams through this. I don't know that it enables any novel attacks, but definitely users will need to, regard when they're signing with a wallet, they're signing anything just as they would on chain, and they have to be appropriately careful.
Jordan, I was wondering if you could just mention what the status. So a lot of this was around, QR code and signing with the mobile app, which I think for retail makes, is probably like the most seamless. What's the state of integration or plan for integration for like online, online checkout experiences?
Yeah, so we have built a sort of like a pretty rough Shopify integration that isn't live yet. There's an approval process that we have to go through with Shopify that may require sort of like, compliance due diligence from them. Not too sure at this point. We're talking with some teams that are building for, I guess, more open e-commerce ecosystems. So Magento and some others. I'm actually not that familiar with kind of the leading e-commerce platforms. But there's ones that are hosted like Shopify, and there's ones that are, they can be hosted, but you can also self-host. And in general, the code is open and you can add plugins for whatever you want. So like WooCommerce or Magento are those. So we're working on those. And then we also have a set of design assets, and we're working on kind of like a set of probably React and like other JavaScript components that people can just drop in to start having like a flow to do this through their custom stores.
Awesome, thanks. And if people wanted to connect with the Solana Pay team for tech questions or integration questions, what's the best avenue for that?
I would say, so we talked about this a little bit, and I guess I'm not sure yet what we want to do. If you want to just ping me, I'm Jordash in like developer support. And we also want to spin up probably a Discord Solana Pay channel. Yeah, I don't have a better answer than that. We're just figuring it out.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, so far it's just been a lot of like Twitter and Telegram and the Discord group wrangling. So I'm hoping we can consolidate that and make it open so that more users can benefit from those conversations.
Got it.
Oh yeah, so with regard to the transactions, confirmation times, that kind of thing. Yeah, there's a balance there with kind of UX and safety. I don't have a great answer to this. I talked with Carl about it. The default for the point of sale system right now is to wait for 9 confirmations. And it sort of is striking a balance. It's hard for me to get historical data on, say, like for any number of n confirmations, what's the chance of a transaction like failing historically after reaching that number of confirmations, which I think is kind of the metric that we care about. So if anybody else has like any thoughts on what a safe number of confirmations to wait for is, that would really help me understand the security properties of the trade-off that we're making. But yeah, merchants can customize this. The point of sale is all open too. We give it to merchants to be able to run themselves. So they can set this number of confirmations, but right now, that's asking them to understand a lot about a bunch of really complex things about Solana. And so I think we got to provide some kind of guidance there, and a way of making sense of like what all this means. Like even talking about optimistic confirmations or finality or whatever, I think is going to be really tough. Let's see. Olaf asked about a roadmap. No, I do not have a roadmap for Solana Pay yet. I think that, so we have a meeting tomorrow, the Solana Pay team at Labs, it's kind of like, a what now meeting to figure out, okay, this week went okay. People seem excited about this. And now I think we need to outline what work there is to do both internally and also to like create more documentation. So there's a little bit in like the Solana Pay repo about like how to contribute or like what we hope people will build. And then there's also a slideshow that Josh Taylor put together that basically has a bunch of ideas for hackathon participants, just trying to seed the hackathon with some different ideas about like what kind of services you could build on top of this primitive, and like how can we evolve what this is beyond just like simple transfers. And I think from there and from seeing interest in those, that'll help us define the roadmap about what use cases people really care about the most.
Awesome. Thanks, Jordan. Appreciate that.
Yes, that is correct. It is being used in some stores. It has been used for some real coffee transactions. It might have been used to rent a van. I think we're trying to use it to buy a gallon of milk pretty soon. So yeah, it's real. It's being used. And then there are various stores that have integrated some version of it. So like autonomous.ai is selling kind of stand-up desks. And they're integrating this into their website. But yeah. Competition with PayPal and expected transaction volume. So expected transaction volumes or impact on the network, I have no way of estimating. I think it really just comes down to, how much traction this gets and how many merchants we see adopt this, and also the scale of that. So like, do big merchants start to accept it? How do they start to think about maybe the compliance issues? Because right now, a lot of the people that we've talked to are sort of, I guess I'll say like small businesses or like mom and pop type of shops. And they might take payment with Venmo or cash or whatever, and that's a common thing for them. And for bigger stores to really roll this out to a lot of people, they have compliance, legal departments, and they might have a different set of concerns about security and privacy. And we have to figure all those things out. As far as competition with PayPal, I wouldn't say that I think about this as being competitive with PayPal. It's like a different way of transacting. I say that it's probably closer to Venmo. We think about this as something like digital cash. Yeah, so they can pay with Sol and with stablecoins or any SPL token. The protocol, by default, if no SPL token is specified, is native Sol, and otherwise any mint can be used. So this could be like, it could be like in-game currency, or it could be like a token, an NFT. Like you could pay with anything that's an SPL token.
So basically, this is just a crypto-to-crypto transaction, right?
Yes, that's right.
Are you guys contemplating any backend layer where merchants can eventually get this in fiat?
So I think that it's not like we would build this, and when I say we, you know, I guess I mean the Solana Pay team, you know, and I think that it's mostly like we look at, say, FTX. That's a pretty decent way for a merchant who has just signed up, who's just become part of this. They can sign up for an account. They can start receiving USDC to their FTX account. They can withdraw it one-to-one as dollars to their bank account. But I don't think that Solana Pay will solve like the fiat on-ramp or off-ramp problem in itself. I think if we can grow sort of the market and the mind share for how people think about what's possible in crypto transactions, then immediately we start to look at, okay, what are the rough edges of like how to even use this? And that's where we start to look at like, why are fiat on-ramps and off-ramps painful? And how do we make those things better? But I don't think that's like part of Solana Pay. It's just like a part of transacting in crypto.
Thanks. And I think, you know, one thing to kind of compare this to is like, you know, we've all run into this, like, you know, kind of high friction fiat on ramp, off ramps. I do think there's going to be, I really anticipate that process going to get a lot smoother. You know, if you compare it to, you know, a merchant accepting, say, a credit card payment, for which we have really good, you know, point of sale infrastructure, but it's really expensive, and the merchants, you know, funds don't settle right away, right? So someone pays 3% to accept a payment when someone swipes a Visa card, right, and pays a fraction of a penny to accept the same transaction, you know, say in USDC via Solana Pay. So that's 3%, you know, right back immediately to the merchant's bottom line. And if you're talking about like small businesses, retail, coffee shops that often have like single-digit margins, or, you know, at most, I think like a 10% margin would be pretty generous for like, you know, coffee shop or a restaurant kind of thing. 3% back that's like tremendous savings right out the gate. And so I think kind of the value prop there is, you know, that amount of savings compared with what is currently a slightly higher friction off-ramp experience. I think there's a strong argument to be made that the value prop is there even today, right? To compare an easier user experience, but it charges you, you know, a lot of your margin out the gate. That's just my personal experience. There was a question in the chat about the wormhole disturbance. I know the wormhole team is.
You are asking for difficult questions.
I'm sorry.
You are asking for difficult questions. You are asking for difficult questions. So
oh,
here
yeah,
it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't speak for Wormhole or the Wormhole team. I do know that the exploit's been fixed. Jump has acknowledged that they have backfilled effectively all of the missing funds to keep the pool balanced. But yeah, the Wormhole as a product and protocol and team is really a separate initiative from what we're doing at Labs and Foundation. So I can't speak on behalf of that issue. I do know that the team is working on putting out a detailed incident report. And I'll kind of have to defer to that when it comes. Cool. Any other questions? Let's see, there's a question about, I'm just reading your question about the foundation's delegations right now. Oh yeah, okay. So the question is about the way the foundation delegation program is set up, is that as more validators are added to the program and become eligible for receiving stake from the foundation, they effectively their share of stake is redistributed from those validators who are already in the program. So basically what this means is as more validators become eligible for delegation through the foundation's program, the amount of stake available per validator decreases over time. This was and is kind of the intent of the program. The delegation program was never meant to be a profit driver for validators to rely on indefinitely. I would kind of love to see like the foundation, you know, we're here to like provide resources and help get more validators bootstrapped who want to participate on the network. If so many validators join the delegation program that relying solely on the foundation for your stake and your profitability becomes unsustainable and they choose to drop off, honestly, those are the validators that should be dropping off, because the people who we want, you know, participating in the network are those who are more actively engaged in the community. There's a lot of people here. I know some of you on this call, you know, who have been operating and bootstrapped yourself from zero without support of the foundation. And there are, you know, a lot more methods for validators now, particularly with the growth of community stake pools and some other kind of stake distribution mechanisms that we're encouraging, and the community is encouraging individual stakers, particularly large stakers, to adopt, to, you know, get out there and hustle, get yourself included. You know, there are delegations available to validators who are making themselves known and contributing to the community. And those are the ones I think who should be, you know, rewarded accordingly. All right, there's a question about Ledger Live. I don't know, I don't think we have a specific ETA from the Ledger Live team for implementation. I believe it is on their roadmap, but it's really not up to us. It's up to the Ledger Live team. So if you want to see Sol and SPL tokens supported on Ledger Live, please go bang down their door. Right, we have full support for the Ledger hardware, of course, which can interface with our command line wallets and Phantom Wallet and Soulflare and a number of others. But Ledger Live as a kind of asset manager is really a separate product that we don't manage. Yeah, and then rumors are rumors that I'm not going to comment on. Zentetsu, why isn't Foundation program run as a stake pool? Yeah, so this is actually something we're looking at transitioning to. We kind of ran into some, I'll say, technical challenges and kind of some compliance challenges on our side that have delayed the adoption there. But yeah, definitely something that I want to move us towards. If we do, you know, so I'll say if and when we do shift from kind of the current custody solution for the foundation delegation program to a stake pool, this would be probably the single largest token movement on chain ever. And so we're going to do it real carefully. Foundation earns 90% of stake rewards. Yeah, all of the stake rewards that are earned just compound in the stake accounts that are already part of the treasury from the foundation that's dedicated to the delegation program. So just about all of the rewards are immediately plowed right back into the program. Cool. Anything else? Those ones are hard today, guys. Come on, we're all fam here. All right. Well, if that's it, I'll call it a wrap. Thanks as always, everybody, for showing up, for participating, and keeping this network awesome. Couldn't do it without you. Thanks a lot, guys. See you in a couple weeks.